Hi there, guys. God bless each and every one of you. Interesting article coming out today. Big tech plans to use brain chips to read users' thoughts. What's really interesting, guys, is that we all know about Neuralink and Elon Musk's brain chips. I wonder if you knew that also Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos have got a Australian-backed brain chip in the mix as well, called Synchron, and also going to be looking at Sam Altman's attempt on this brain chip as well. So going to be looking at this big tech plans to use brain chips to read users' thoughts. Want to bring to your memory what Yuval Noah Harari was also saying before in Revelation of the Method, by saying the next type of surveillance is going on in under your skin, or in your noggin in this particular case. Going to be looking at this from a couple of angles as per usual, guys. Just going to give you a little bit of a refresh to some of the developments when it comes to microchips patented by Bill Gates, discovered in massive range of everyday foods. We've covered that just a few days ago. Here we've got another, the World Economic Forum. Kids must have microchips installed in their brains to help pre-bunk conspiracy theories. The World Economic Forum has announced plans to install microchips in children's brain in order to protect them from misinformation and disinformation. I mean, can no one else just see that as being an abuse of power, a misallocation of technology and borderline abuse on children, dictating to them, wiring their brains, trying to manipulate them, coerce them into believing what is good is bad and bad is good, sweet for bitter and bitter for sweet. The actual abomination of all of this, but this is their intent, to put microchips in children's brains in order to protect them from misinformation and disinformation. According to WEF scientists, these chips will help pre-bunk so-called conspiracy theories. Continuing with the WEF, well, they want to implant prisoners with brain chips to erase consciousness and induce compliance. We were saying before around the TV series Lost, and poor old Carl that gets, captured by the others and gets sat in some chair and ends up having this sort of like Clockwork Orange moment where he's literally being sort of like, brainwashed into submission, into compliance. A team of WEF scientists want governments around the world to begin implanting new microchips, and where are they coming from, I might add, into the brains of prisoners, which they say will erase their consciousness and replace it with new compliant personalities. Part of this was all geared in and around reducing their sentence. It's just like, this is what they're doing with technology, and they're going to be trying it out, with these individuals. Please see our videos on Rumble, and I'll put one in the community post after this live relating to that technology. It's not the stuff of sci-fi anymore. It's a reality. Speaking of realities, the World Economic Forum unveils flying microchips that can detect thoughts, crimes, and disable your brain. We're going to be looking at this direct interface as well. I would like to bring to your attention also the nanotechnology and the self-assembly that's in the vaccines, and the connection that also has with a two-way direct interface with our technology, having those things being placed in and amongst certain areas of our brains as well, be able to tell whoever's reading that what mood we're in, what we're thinking, etc. And when we go up and the enemy sort of like comes down as such, it's going to need such tech as this to know who's compliant, who believes, who's a threat. But that's really worrying, isn't it? Elon Musk caught supplying, the WEF with mind control chips to enslave humanity. So when you get these sort of like guys that pretend to be pitted against each other, it's like, oh no, we're not going to be inviting Elon Musk to Davos, and how outraged Elon Musk was relating to this. It's just like, yeah, not before the boy ended up dumping loads of Neuralink control chips onto, Davos. What was it Klaus Schwab was saying in the year, sort of like 2014, and 2015, saying, look, in the next 10 years, I can imagine you all having, brain chips and the like, and connecting everybody to an avatar. We're seeing this and this dystopian development taking shape right here, right now. Elon Musk threatens to implant microchips in human brains. Okay, lawyers, and this is what's quite troubling as well, this is where it's all going to be heading. Lawyers with chips implanted in their brains will be better, faster, and cheaper. See the dangling carrot around, this being about expedience, etc. Same thing that, Trump's now doing as well, with having sort of like, a military tribunal. We're talking about martial law over in the United States, with him deploying, 1,700 over, sort of like 19 states, and then having a militarized tribunal to be able to clear the backlogs relating to corruption and other sort of like things. So setting up this dystopian martial law in advance is absolutely monstrous. And what's absolutely shocking, and I don't know if it's genuine or not, but is there's so many people that are in agreement with him by putting boots on the ground as well. These things are deliberately set up. And actually, when it came to DC, their crime rate was down, do you know what I mean, sort of like 30%. and it's like, really? You don't think that the underground is going to go even more underground and be even more deviant and always a step ahead of them? This is what got quite a few of our channels being taken down when we made the connection with this. Pfizer CEO announces trackable microchips in pills to usher in the New World Order. We go back to what was happening with Bill Gates, patented his sort of microchips into massive range of everyday foods. You're seeing a connect there, aren't we? Pfizer's CEO Albert Bourla has unveiled new trackable microchips that he says the New World Order will put into drugs to track compliance among the population. Women in Dubai are getting microchips installed on their fingernails, and no doubt they'll be using sort of like child abductions and the like, as well as a justification to bag, rag and tag your kid. Poor Australia. Australia begins inserting microchips into cash to track transactions. Sweden cash now extinct as citizens use implanted microchips instead. And we've got UK corporations preparing to introduce mandatory microchips for employees. We've got one of our dear, subs here, our Annie, and she has to sort of like surrender her iris scan when she wants to go into work. This is just where this all begins. It starts with iris. It will start with a palm or something of that sort. That palm reading, that's not dodgy at all, is it? Okay, and then you've got other actresses coming out and promoting the microchips for children live on TV. Brooke Shield promotes microchips for children on TV. Unbelievable. Microchips opening doors for Siberian doctor, literally. US company implants microchips in employees to improve efficiency. Sweden begins implanting microchips under employees' skin. Doctor, here you go. Sex traffickers are implanting microchips into children. Senator wants to ban mandatory human microchips. And House passes bill allowing Americans to be tracked via microchips. It all starts with an external tag, does it not? So going to be looking at this from a couple of angles, guys. The main theme of the live today is big tech plans to use brain chips to read users' thoughts. Going to get into that, but I want to just sort of like bring to your attention other key players in this as well. Now we know about Neuralink, okay, and Elon Musk. We know about that. Let's just like have him as one of those. But as I mentioned before, you've got Jeff Bezos and you've also got Bill Gates with Synchron and the Australian-backed and funded brain chip as well. So that's three really important sort of like tech giants in the mix there when it comes to brain chips. Added to that, now going to be looking at Sam Altman. Okay, his brain chip venture is mulling gene therapy. Okay, and then we also need to add onto that as well Peter Thiel. Okay, so you've got 5 really, probably, you know, the top 5 richest men in the whole planet. All of them, okay, have created brain chips. That needs to be something really, you know, sort of like troubling for us, really. I'm just going to refresh this. It seems to have stopped this. So let's go with this. Let's have a look at Sam Altman first. Sam Altman's brain chip venture is mulling gene therapy approach. It's now not going to let me access the article. That's unbelievable. Come on. Sorry, guys. So it's hilarious, isn't it? My tech doesn't want to work when I mention some of these guys' names. Really? The brain chip company has drawn interest from Sam Altman. No, won't let me do that. Okay, I'm going to put that article in the live there for you. I literally can't open it up. I literally can't open it up. No one wants to be talking about Peter Thiel. No one wants to be exposing Sam Altman. Everyone's happy to sort of like just settle for Neuralink. They don't want to be talking about Synchron with Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. These particular individuals, they don't want to be looking at that. I'm sorry, guys. That therein is a prime example of the battle that I have daily when it comes to these sort of stuff. It was all there before. I've read through the article several times, and it allowed me to do it, but it didn't clearly want me to be, you know, making the connects that we are when it comes to these big tech giants. Okay, planning and creating microchips. So let's go for the main sort of article today. Big tech plans to use brain chips to read users' thoughts. So big tech is plotting to deploy brain chips capable of reading users' thoughts, according to a chilling new Stanford University study on neural implants, also known as brain computer interfaces. And we were saying this two-way direct interface. There's times when I'm on my devices and I can almost like feel there's something going on there, which could expose innermost secrets whilst masquerading as aids for paralyzed individuals to communicate. This is what it is, isn't it? Elon Musk boasting that he has given sight to the blind, or he's given hearing to this, like he's some miracle worker. This person can now end up, you know, sort of like playing Donkey Kong and, you know, all of these sorts of things with this brain chip. It gives them a whole new life. But really, that's a dangling carrot, you know, to enslave everybody else. So, published in the medical journal Cell, the research demonstrates how these devices decode brain signals to generate synthesized speech with unprecedented speed and minimal effort, raising alarms about privacy invasions as corporations like Neuralink push for widespread adoption. While proponents tout benefits for the disabled, critics warn that unchecked integration could allow tech giants to harvest neural data for surveillance, manipulation, or profit, turning personal cognition into a commodified resource without consent. That's really where this is all going. It's just like they always say it. This is what we're going to be doing. Oh, we've got this little bit of concern around it. Oh, AI is going to be really dangerous. Oh, we're, you know, summoning the beast when we have AI. And look what Elon Musk is literally doing, so that they can be the guys that end up controlling all of it. So if you turn around and pretend that you think, oh, this is going to be really dangerous, then some idiot in the Senate says, oh, that's okay. He seems to be aware of some of those dangers, so we're going to give it to him. And he's going, he. Do you know what I mean? Mugging everybody off with the technology. It's unbelievable that people fall for this. Modernity News reports BCIs, which, as we've covered as well, is the brain computer interface, works by using tiny electrode arrays to monitor activity in the brain's motor cortex, the region controlling speech-related muscles. So what's going to happen then if you're sort of like speaking out against the system? Are they going to have a kill switch to that as well? Like they have the technology here. Do you not see the dangers in having this technology going in under your skin, having it as a wearable as well? So exposing RFK Jr., he wants to put these trackable devices, which are external versions of that, grooming everybody in advance, so that what you can have, you know, all of this being used against you? Are we being really serious about this right now? The surveillance capabilities to this, knowing what it is that you're thinking, knowing what it is that you're believing, what your fears are that can be preyed upon. Why we don't want this technology, and then to be able to manipulate that and coerce that, put thoughts into your head. That's what Project Bluebeam is all around. This is why they had to throw out the self-assembly nanotechnology in the vaccines, so that, you know, should they want to, you know, fake the, you know, the second coming of the Lord, then they'll have the ability to be able to put into people's thoughts as if they're directly talking to God, or God's directly talking to them. That two-way interface is dangerous, and all without your consent. Do we really trust these guys with what they're doing with our devices externally already, when it comes to phones? When it comes to banking that we were talking about yesterday, do we really want them to be able to, you know, mess with our biology, our subconscious? And what's really shocking about this live as well, guys, is I'm going to be taking an article to expose a Christian viewpoint on this, coming from Christianity Today, who is an epic failure when it comes to representing the faith. I'm going to give you a prime example of that, because they talk about these brain chips, but they don't seem to make any connect to where this is all heading when it comes to he causes all, both great and small. This continues. The Stanford team, however, have discovered that even imagined speech generates similar, though weaker, signals in the motor cortex. With the help of artificial intelligence, do you know what I mean? If Jesus can put, you know, demons into pigs, hello. With the help of artificial intelligence, they translated those faint signals into words with up to 74% accuracy from a 125,000 word vocabulary. So when you get these Neuralink chips, and then you can see this guy, he's literally texting messages just with his, you know, with his brain activity. Now you understand that technology and what it's really going to be used for. It's not so that he can send Auntie Deirdre a nice little text message saying, "Don't forget to buy the potatoes." This is two-way traffic. Yeah, it's not going to be one-way traffic, two-way traffic. Again, danger, Will Robinson. So we're recording the signals as they're attempting to speak and translating those neural signals into the words that they are trying to say, said Erin Kuntz, a postdoctoral researcher at Stanford's Neural Prosthetics Translational Laboratory. But this technological leap has raised red flags among critics who warn of a dystopian future where your private thoughts could be exposed. It's like that movie Fortress with, you know, Christopher Lambert. And he's there in this sort of like prisoned environment, and all of a sudden he ends up having some, you know, dream about him and his wife, and all of a sudden he gets woken up, he gets punished, he gets beaten for having that thought, having that trail of thought. What happens if someone in the tribulation is starting to think, I don't agree with all of this decapitation that's going on and the murdering of Christians. I don't think that's okay. I think I might need to speak out about this. Or what happens if they've got some information about a Christian family that's just hiding down the road? Will they be able to use that against that person as well and then punish them accordingly? Oh, well, you didn't bow down, or you didn't, you know, worship the beast when you walked past that statue. Oh, we knew what you were thinking because we know what you were saying as you did so. Do you know what I mean? Could you imagine what it would be like if I was in that situation? I would epically fail. Damn, you just went off the grid. You call yourself a Christian? You come out with all of that about that statue? Because I would be getting up in my flesh about it, you know? But that's it, where your private thoughts could be exposed. It's like we're saying, you know, data is gold. To these guys, it's so gold. Nita Farahany, a Duke University law and philosophy professor and author of The Battle for Your Brain, sounded the alarm, saying, the more we push this research forward, the more transparent our brains become. I don't want to know what's going on in someone's head. Really? Do you want to open that door? As a therapist, I can avoid that now. I don't want to know. But before, you know, it's like, no, that's not okay. Farahany expressed concern that tech giants like Apple, Google, and Meta could exploit brain-computer interfaces to assess consumers' minds without consent. urging safeguards like passwords to protect thoughts meant to stay private. That's not okay. We have to recognize that this new era of brain transparency really is an entirely new frontier for us, Farhan said. While the world fixates on artificial intelligence, some of the tech industry's heavy hitters are pouring millions into brain-computer interfaces. We've said it already, haven't we? Elon Musk, the world's richest man, has raised 1.2 billion for his Neuralink venture, which is now conducting clinical trials with top institutions like the Barrow Neurological Institute, the Miami Project to Cure Paralysis, and the Cleveland Clinic in Abu Dhabi. We've also mentioned Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates together combining for Synchron, the Australian-backed one. Sam Altman, they didn't want me to read out Sam Altman's brain chip either. But there you go. That's really worrying, isn't it? A handful of these guys, and you throw in Peter Thiel's technology as well, Palantir. That's really worrying. OpenAI co-founder Sam Altman is launching Merge Labs to challenge Musk's Neuralink. Backed by OpenAI's venture arm and valued at 850 million, Merge Labs is seeking 250 million in funding, according to the Financial Times. I want to bring to your attention also what Keir Starmer has said over here in the UK when it comes to this transhumanist revelation of the method. We're going to be putting AI into the veins of Britain and Britons. Seeing this transhumanism, this merging with biology and technology and the digital, you know, taking away everything from the image of God and placing the image of the beast in that particular individual. We were saying before, wasn't it, that when these guys end up not only having sores and boils for taking the mark of the beast, but also when they end up dying and are presented before the Lord's going to be like, I don't know who you are. I don't know you. You've got Elon Musk a bit there, and you've got a little bit of Mark Zuckerberg, a little bit of Ouchie Fauci going on there, a bit of Sam Altman, a little bit of Peter Thiel, yeah, a bit of Jeff Bezos, you've got a lot of Bill Gates there, son. No, I didn't make that. I didn't put that in you. That's not my DNA. That's not my creation. You know what I mean? You serve your master, the beast. This is what we're seeing, guys. While Altman will serve as a co-founder alongside Alex Blania of the Iris Scanning World Project. Do you know what I mean? It's like, come on. All right. Sources say he won't take an operational role. And then if you just add also, okay, to this proceeding, all right, Larry Fink and BlackRock and Mr. Pharmaceutical, Andre Hoffman, that's really, really worrying. So an interesting article there for us to be thinking in and around. Okay, I want to just sort of like look at very briefly at this Christianity.com article, which I thought was really misleading. Actually, this is titled "Neural Implants: Should We Become One with AI?" It's just like you should not even be posing such a sort of like title as that. Okay, unbelievable. As Christians, we must prioritize thinking theologically about emerging technologies. Okay, so let's just read out this monstrosity. So, will artificial intelligence destroy humanity, or elevate it to new heights? No, this is the powers that they want to be having. All right, so you can do some Jedi mind trick and stir your coffee or whatever. Silicon Valley technologists are in a tumultuous debate about this very question. Elon Musk, owner of Tesla and SpaceX, is working with his new startup Neuralink to develop neuroprosthetic devices, tiny electrodes implanted into human brains that can connect us to computers and artificial intelligence. So now you understand how small these sort of like things are, that they're going into the food supplies, they're going into the vaccines. So when people are having like magnet tests and the like, that makes a lot more sense. And then they're warming these vaccines up to body temperature, and you've got the self-assembly nanotechnologies and all the structures that are in there. Please do see our video, Wait, What's in the Vaccine? Because you'll see that for yourself. And this is that technology. So it can go and find its way into your sort of like you know, into your brain and into other areas. If it wants to wreak havoc, it can go after all of your vital organs. Or if it wants to go and, you know, have a swab right up your nose, sort of like pinpointing it deliberately and purposefully there, that's also possible, isn't it? So that they can have this direct interface with the technology and the devices that we've now got as well. And then manipulate and coerce all of that with a massive ear ringing that we're seeing with 5G and all of the other grids that we are in and amongst. This is absolutely astonishing that we're seeing this. The corporation received FDA approval to conduct human clinical trials after its controversial testing on primates, where they all died, all suffer horribly. But that's okay. Let's just give it to humans next. If you didn't pass the sort of like animal testing part of it, why are we using, you know, people? It's raising substantial funds to compete in this industry and making headlines in the process. Proponents claim they could treat quadrophilia or Parkinson's disease or augmented cognition and memory. Musk believes that through his technology, we will achieve a symbiosis with artificial intelligence. This merging is absolutely awful. Despite its continuity with existing embodied technologies such as eyeglasses, hearing aids, pacemakers, and smartwatches, neural implants are the first devices to enable mankind to interface directly with machines. Such new territory often invites either terrifying fears or massive hopes. Terrifying fear or techno-pessimism imagines a dystopian future where human beings become dispassionate and dependent machines, while limitless hope or techno-optimism imagines a utopic future where technology solves all of our woes. And just look at how deviant these things are when they become programmable. You have like the Alexa devices, you have like AI, you have like Chat GPT. See how deviant they really truly are. And you want that going on in under your brain, intruding upon your thoughts and your thinking in that particular way. WEF videos as well, relating to that being given through earbuds and the like as well, to be able to realize whether you're doing your job or you end up fancy your, you know, fellow workmate or whatever. So it's already here. And when they end up saying this, then they've had it, but they've been sitting on it for like 10 years. The latter logic flows as follows. AI cannot outpace human intelligence if we are one with it. In other words, if you can't beat AI, join it. Thanks, Christianity Today, feeling that. But whether technology inhibits absolute human freedom or promotes absolute human power, both assume that humanity is an absolute law unto itself. Egbert Schurman, a Christian philosopher of technology, thinks that techno-pessimism and techno-optimism are both essentially religious in nature, arguing that these views have to do with absolutes. Schurman writes that, quote, the fundamental choice upon us, which this pretension rests, is a radical one and thus is religious in character. Just very questionable quotes. Why are you questioning sort of like and quoting people that are really sort of like in on this technology? Godless people. For example, if you think neuro implants will either destroy or deliver us, that is a religious thought. If implanting computer chips in our brains becomes our ultimate hope or fear, then it has become either our God or our eternal enemy. I would say the latter. Either way, Schurman points out, the conversation takes a religious turn, and humanity will never develop a proper relationship with this technology if we seek to let it determine our absolute hopes or fears. Run from it. Already got a whole generation that is digitally enslaved. Digital addiction is probably just as bad as sticking powder up your nose. As a pastor and co-author of Redeeming Technology, a Christian approach to healthy digital habits, I want us to consider how any emerging technology might intersect with our theological framework. You know, what's fascinating about this? They didn't go anywhere near Revelation. All right. How can we think theologically about neural implant devices? Let's consider three Simple and questions. Do I want this? No. At what cost? Do you know what I mean? Your eternal destination. And for whose benefit? Well, that'll be the beast system, won't it, really? So, do we want this? Theologian Norman Versber said, we should always ask ourselves whether any new technology is something we want. No, it's not, but it's forced upon us, isn't it? When these guys monopolize everything, this stuff is coming so fast, Verber said, of AI. It's coming with such allure because the promises are enormous. And it's really easy to get sucked into that dangling carrot because maybe it does not correspond to fundamental values that we should be having. No, so you have like, people that aren't, sort of like Christians, and they think, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I get to live forever. And my subconscious, yeah, please have full access to my body. They're already taking away our autonomy. Why not, go the full hog? The Bible says much about human ambitions and desires and about how our wants can often become our wardens. Scripture is full of characters with misguided aspirations. Adam and Eve desired God-like freedom, but later came to regret it. Israel wanted a king like the other nations, only to be ultimately disappointed. Such stories can serve as a warning sign to limit our impulsive instincts, just like the Tower of Babel. Oh yeah, we want to be getting closer to the Lord. And then look at Jeff Bezos' Amazon HQ. It's exactly the same. Desiring new technologies to ease human suffering and disease can be a good and noble objective. This guy is just totally in bed with science, man. But even a purely altruistic motive can eventually turn into the goal of optimizing basic human brain functioning. Do we want a future where human thought is indistinguishable from machine learning? Are we dissatisfied with the human brain so much in its present state that we feel the need to augment our cognition and memory? It's the same thing as well, isn't it? They just want you dependent on and plugged into this system. You don't need 72 vaccines. We don't need pharmaceutical interventions. We don't need that dependency. That's what it's all being groomed for, so that you are connected, you are beholden, you are compliant, and you are ultimately controlled. Jesus comes to give us freedom, and we are free indeed, never to be, associated or attached to a yoke of slavery again. And at what cost? We need to consider the ethical, like these guys have any of that, and societal costs. They just care about the money that could come with bringing neural implants to market, and whether the end justifies the means. No, it does not. It does not. Just because it might work for a few less abled individuals doesn't mean that you have to go throwing it into every single human being on earth. Now, do you understand why these tech giants are like that? Because this was part of it. It was a case of, right, we're going to give you some of this technology, and here it is. All right. I suspect it was all given from aliens, the fallen angels, like giving away, sort of like the treasures like they did in the book of Enoch, how they sinned against the birds and the bees and created all the dinosaurs and all that crazy old stuff. So, well, here you go. Here's the technology. We're going to give that to you, Elon Musk, so that you'll become really, really, really rich. We'll give this to you, Bill Gates, with the Microsoft and everything else. We'll give this to you, Sam Altman. We'll give this to you, Peter Thiel. All of these sort of like individuals. And then it becomes of, right, when you earn your billions and billions, you have to give that back and create the tech that we want for our agenda. See how this all plays in, and how all of one mind that they are truly. What humanitarian price are we willing to pay when it comes to how clinical trials are conducted on human subjects? They don't care about any of that. They'll bypass all of the safety protocols, won't give a hoot about any of that, take away all of the, professional and legal, accountability to it. What societal price are we willing to pay if this technology results in a steep divide between the technological haves and have-nots? I've always thought that maybe that was, why wasn't it just one? Why did it have to be on the forehead or on the hand? And maybe, this is me thinking here, that maybe that there's a class thing to that. Maybe it's a case of those that are everyday bog standard Joe, just get the hand one. Maybe those who are a bit more flashy, a little bit more money, get the brain one. I don't know. The other question is, I think people will prefer to be able to pay the bills. People will be able to prefer to sort of like make ends meet than having all of this technology. The answers to these questions will reveal our ultimate priorities. Martin Luther stated that a God is which we fear, love, and trust in above all else. If we are willing to sacrifice anything, financially, ethically, societally, to bring neural implants to market, then this emerging technology has become our God. It absolutely is and will be. These are the guys that say they've got godlike powers. For whose benefit? Well, as of now, neural implants are positioned to benefit individuals with clinical deficits, such as people suffering from paralysis. But who stands to benefit when this technology reaches the wider consumer market? Jesus, and this is the bit that I was just like, are you kidding me right now? Jesus calls us to love God along with loving our neighbors as ourselves, as we read in Mark 12:30. By keeping the focus on how neural implants might serve our neighbor and not just ourselves, we can better ascertain the proper value of this emerging technology. They sold this as well, wasn't it, with the vaccine? Oh, be a good neighbor, be a good whatever. Jesus would be, taking the vaccine using the same line. This is coming from christianitytoday.com. And I mark and avoid these guys because the epic failures that they've come out with, really anti-Semitic, sort of articles. It's like you go near Israel too much and too often, I'm going to ditch you. And there's a reason right there, just grooming up a whole sort of like, Christian population. It is very likely that neural implants will go to market before these questions are answered, since neurotechnology companies are likely not thinking theologically about their creations. No, they're all godless. You get this Amicus and these Sophies, and yet they ask them, do you believe in God? No, I don't believe in God. Wow, so you're turning around to me and say that you have no faith basis, and yet 95% of the world does have one. How are you in any way, you know what I mean, clued on there? That's a deviance of their programming, is it not? Unreal. But as believers, we can reflect on how emerging technologies might impact us all. Yes, I think we need to draw a certain line behind some of these technologies, stand apart away from some of it and say, no, I'm not prepared to have that. I'm not prepared to have your digital ID. I'm not prepared to have your, digital passport. I'm not going to be having your social credit score system rating. I'm not going to have any of that. Thank you. And the CBDCs, I'm not having it, and drawing a line saying, no, I don't care. If that excludes me from society, then great. I don't want to be a part of the society that you are creating. I don't have to prove my identity. I have a freedom, and I'm going to exercise that. You do what you've got to do, and I do what I've got to do. Who do you think it's going to be better to obey, God or man? Isaiah 2:22, of what account is man that has just breath in his nostrils? Perhaps that starts with considering the impact existing wearable technology has on us already. Has my Fitbit or Apple Watch brought more or less peace into my life? It's because of just tracking and surveilling everything about you, your health. This is what RFK Jr. is trying to plug and promote, getting everyone used to having this. So it's a normalcy. See, for the movies galore about this. How does tracking my daily step count serve my neighbor? What is really driving my desire to have that next new wearable device like Apple's Vision Pro? Once we begin to think theologically about the devices we are already wearing on our bodies, maybe we will be better prepared to ask far bigger and harder questions, like what it might mean to implant devices in our brain that helps us become one with AI. And that's the article. Doesn't turn around and go by any sense of like leading or direction. Really awful. I consider that to be a grooming article, and I'll put it in the description box there for you. But should we become one with AI? Absolutely not. This merging of technology and biology is an abomination. This is what they'll be able to change your DNA. They'll have a little kill switch in these things as well and track and survey you. You're not going to be able to buy. You're not going to be able to sell. Let's go to what the word of God says. Revelation 24. Then I saw thrones, and seated on them were those to whom the authority to judge was committed. Also, I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded for the testimony of Jesus and for the word of God, and those who had not worshipped the beast or its image, and had not received its mark on their foreheads or on their hands. They came to life and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. And you have to think about the Irish company and the giant and the holograms and everything else they've got going on. Stick a few gun turrets on there with some facial recognition, and there's some ability to be able to know what's going on in under your skin. And you can just like drop these guys if they're not paying homage or if they haven't got the mark and all this sort of stuff. You'll be able to do the face recognition thing, and then out of that info will come everything pertaining to that person, which is why they're so hell bent on all this info. And this is the bit that I love. Revelation 19:20. Come on, and the beast was captured, and with it the false prophet, who in its presence, I love it. I love the Lord uses its, and it causes all. I just love that at the front of it, and we're good to go. Its presence have done the signs by which he deceived those who have received the mark of the beast and those who worship its image. And this is what's important, by which he deceived those who had received the mark of the beast. So again, are they not going to be very forthcoming when it comes to what's actually in these technologies, in these brain chips, just like they were about the vaccines? That's going to sterilize everybody. Yeah, give them sudden adult deaths. Are they going to be really being deceptive around that? Is there going to be a kill switch? Is it literally going to change you and your DNA to the point where, as in the days of Noah, you ain't going to be gods no more? You're going to be made into the image of the beast, and you're going to bow down to that. This continues. These two were thrown alive into the lake of fire that burns with sulfur. And here, this is what I love. Revelation 13:16. Also, it, it causes all, both small and great, both rich and poor, both free and slave, to be marked on the right hand or on the forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark. That is, the name of the beast or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his name is 666. All right. So when you get Bill Gates painting his technology and vaccines, and he has 060606 on there, you have to go, this is what's really interesting. This is our justification. And now us church, in the sense of thinking, well, has the mark of the beast already been here? Is it already out? Is it being rolled out? Is Bill Gates going to sabotage me with this? The answer is no, because we read in Revelation 14:9-11, which is like 9/11, hello. And another angel, a third, followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast and its image and receives a mark on his forehead or on his hand, he will drink the wine of God's wrath, poured full strength into the cup of his anger, and he will be tormented with fire and sulfur in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment goes up forever and ever, and they have no rest, day or night, these worshippers of the beast and its image, and whoever receives the mark of its name. It's all about ownership. It's all about ownership. And this is what the whole beast system wants to own us, wants to control us, wants to get us to be compliant, wants to get us to bow down. Yeah, or as I was cheekily saying yesterday, to bend over. It's important that we already now turn against this beast system that we see rising and expose these individuals that are no doubt going to be having their wealth added to by the sort of like implementation of this mark of the beast. And we've just not read just how actually those that refused that turned around and said, no, I'm not going to be having this. I don't care. If I have to go a bit hungry or I have to go without, then that's fine. Okay, you want me to be guillotined? Fine, let's go and do that then. Because I'm not taking your mark of the beast. It's important that we're speaking out against these things now whilst we still have time. And this is it. You know, talk about, you know, adverse reactions that you get from the vaccines. Well, this is God's adverse reactions for taking the mark of the beast. Revelation 16:2. So the first angel went and poured out his bowl on the earth, and harmful and painful sores came upon the people who bore the mark of the beast and worshipped its image. Revelation 13:8. And all who dwell on earth will worship it. Everyone whose name has not been written before the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb who was slain. We're seeing these things literally taking shape right here and right now. Are we not, guys? I think it's really important that we do, as we continue to do here on our channel, guys, to expose evil, to expose the beast and its technology. We see that the digital public infrastructure in the form of digital IDs, digital passports, CBDCs, and the social credit score rating, and anything wearable in that sense, are external versions of this mark of the beast. So when we have Neuralink with Elon Musk, when we have Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates tag teaming Synchron, then we have as well Sam Altman, and then we have also on top of that Peter Thiel. These are the guys that are literally doing all of this technology. Big tech plans to use brain chips to read users' thoughts. And then you've got Peter Thiel, who wants this immortality thing, and Klaus Schwab that says that we can, you know, end up living forever. Really, really troubling. Want to see what you guys have got to say in about this. Bless you guys. Thank you for being here. Hi there, Sylvia. Bless you. Blessings. Hi there, daughter of Issachar. Oof. Blessings to you guys. You're just checking in, saying hi. Yeah, hi there, DK OPAC. Yeah, let's all pray for each other through the blood of Jesus Christ. Amen. Absolutely. Prayers for you and yours. Sylvia saying, my brain is already disabled. Don't need their garbage added to it. Exactly. Could you imagine that? Them just like remotely, you know, controlling that? How, you know, easy it is for hackers to get on top of it. Do you know what I mean? You're walking down the road next minute and someone's there hacking you, saying, right now, go and play on the traffic blindfolded. Do you know what I mean? I think not. Yeah. They all have a role. Pray against this spiritual wickedness. Jesus Christ above all else. Amen. Yeah, I will be just having a potato chip. That's right. Guys, we're gonna be having this. We're gonna be seeing these guys. All right, when we're back, you know, after 7 years in the Father's house, we're going to see these guys cowering, and they're going to have their sores. No doubt we'll be nursing some of those if they end up surviving it. Maybe even escorting them to the Lord Jesus for judgment, where they will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And I suspect that gnashing of teeth isn't just because they're, you know what I mean, just sort of like crazed animals by then and what they've all gone through, but because I suspect that they're going to be muted so that they can't, you know, speak or, you know, swear or cuss out. Hi there, Melissa. Bless you. Good to see you. Great to have you with us. Yeah, slap that like button if you like. It's just, I'm over it, man. What they do with the, you know, sort of like algorithms and everything against us. But yeah, if you feel the need to do, do you know what I mean? They take them away and steal them anyway. So it's up to you if you want to waste your time. Melissa saying, are there any good elites, or are they all, insert naughty word, a bunch of so-and-sos? Yeah, no, not really. They're not, because, you know, look at who they're serving. Look at who they're affiliated with. You get Elon Musk into the White House for a little bit. What's that all about? Come on. Yeah. I mean, really, these guys need to be sort of like going and colonizing space, but I'm hoping that we're the ones that get to do that and populate it. Yeah. Bless their hearts, as we say in the South. Yeah. Bless you. You know, shut the front door and back the truck up. Let's just leave it there, shall we? Let's not dig anymore. Hi there, Jonathan. Good to see you. Good morning. Great to see you guys. Hi, Age of Grace. Thank you guys for coming on in. Thank you to our Sherry as well. Okay, guys, let's leave it as there. Let's not waffle on. Okay, I will put the article in relating to Sam Altman's brain chip as well, which the beast system didn't want me to be looking at and addressing there for you as well. But we've looked at the big tech plans to use brain chips to read users' thoughts, referring back to Noah Harari, who says the next type of surveillance is going on in under your skin as well, making the connects. Please, thank you, Sherry. Please do subscribe to our backup channel in case we get slapped down with a strike or whatever. If we are, then we'll be on that the following day. But I'll put these articles in the description box for you. And as always, afterwards, I will put a post up with some sort of like visuals and videos that we've already made on our Rumble channel. But God bless you. Thank you. Hi there, Mike, mate. And thank you to our Sherry for guarding the fort and keeping this a safe space. God bless you guys, and we will talk again soon. All right. Love.